think we're live. Let me double check here. Go over here. All right. I think the mic is working. Yeah, okay, the mic is working. What is going on, guys? Like I said, last week when I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, I was going to be... Well, I initially thought that maybe I should stream... I should stream... is this... okay, yeah, we're good. I should stream Jedi Survivor for the first time while I played it for the first time, and... yeah, so I just completed it yesterday evening. So I'm going to be doing a non-spoiler and a spoiler review. So I'll be doing the non-spoiler review, of course, first, and then I'll get to the spoilers to finish off the video. So so again, if you don't want to get spoiled, if you want to listen to the non-spoiler review, you can. I'll try my best not to spoil as much as I would like to. So, coming to this game, like I said, when I was streaming Jedi Fallen Order, I had seen the story movie, if that's how you call it, only once, and that's when it was released, because I was so intrigued and so excited about, the game, to where I wanted to see it. And part of me says I could have waited until I played the game, but still, when I played the game for the first time last week, it was still a very cool experience. It was still like first time, that first time feeling. But I kind of knew a little bit of the story, but when I watched it, when I played the game, it kind of made sense. I was like, okay, yeah, now I think I remember this a little bit. But still, I really enjoyed the game. Yeah, like, the music was amazing. So yeah, like, when I first found out about Jedi Survivor, I was in college, and they had announced the trailer and everything, and I was super excited, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get this game when it comes out. Well, too much chagrin, if that's how you call it, or however you say it. I found out a little bit later on that they were not going to be there was not going to be a PS4 release initially for the game, or at all. And so I was like, oh great. So because I originally played on a PS4, and so I was like, well, that sucks, because I probably won't be able to play this game probably ever, unless if I get a PS5 in the future, and that might take years. And so I was really bummed out, and so I was like, you know what, if I'm not gonna play the game for a long time, might as well watch it. But it wasn't until like about a week ago, a little over a week ago, that I decided to get a PS4, because I am going to be starting getting regular income in again, which I'm very excited for. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna click the bait here and get a PS5, and then get Jedi Survivor along with it. And it's been worth it, 100% worth it. So to get into the game / story, again, non-spoiler review to start off the video. Again, I love this story. It was amazing. I will say though that, like, it's a little different than Jedi Fallen Order, because this story has more of a darker tone. And Jedi Fallen Order is too somewhat of a darker tone to it, because you're in a very dark time. But this one is kind of a little bit more darker, because of course the Empire is now taking control of the entire galaxy officially. Because in Jedi Fallen Order, even though, yeah, the Empire already has taken over basically everything, the Empire is just closing in, closing in, closing in on a bunch of these worlds and these planets. Um, and again, Cal is being targeted. Of course, kind of like in Fallen Order. Um, but um, yeah, like I, I will say that there are because yesterday, so I was playing the game and my brother walked in and he was like, "You already done with the story?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Well, that was short." Well, a lot of it has to do with because I um, actually um, actually played this game for multiple hours straight when he was gone. So for some people they thought that that I sped my way through or skipped it, but no. I played anywhere from 5 to 6 hours straight of this game, and yeah, I completed the game in like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. So it was quick, right? But I will say this though, again, non-spoiler, but and I'll try my best not to get into huge detail here, but there are a lot of shortcuts in the game, more than Jedi Fallen Order. And when I mean shortcuts, a lot of more, ropes, like you get them in Jedi Fallen Order, where you can go from point A to point B. A lot of ropes, a lot of other stuff, a lot of shortcuts. Um, Again, more than Jedi Fallen Order. And when I played Jedi Fallen Order for the first time, it took me like I think 2 weeks. However, when I played Jedi Fallen Order for the first time, it took I think I played in 1 to 2 hour increments at a time. Where here I played like each day I played approximately 4 to 5 hours, and it took me 4 days ish. Um, so yeah, there are a lot of shortcuts in the game. Um, I really don't have any flaws with this game, honestly. There might be one little flaw that's like toward the end of the story, but in a moment I'll tell you what that is. But again, this is for a non-spoiler review. What can I say? So the story is great, I think. Especially if you're focused on a lot of the excuse me, a lot of the main characters. Um, with the gameplay, everything is great. Um, so going back to the characters, starting off with Cal, without spoiling or anything, Cal is different than the Cal we know in Jedi Fallen Order. Cal's more, I should say, more mature, but more serious about what he's into at the moment. As we know in Jedi Fallen Order, and going into this story, he wants to restore the Order. He wants to do as much as he can to, I guess, save the galaxy, make the galaxy a better place. And so Cal in this story, he has a plan, but it's about finishing that plan and kind of getting through without having to, I guess, worry so much. But yeah, Cal's a little bit different, but still, you can still see the same Cal, but he's more determined. And yeah, Cal in the story is great, but he's a little bit more different than the first time we see him in Fallen Order. And he's more mature. Of course, this is, I think, like 4 years, 4 or 5 years after Jedi Fallen Order. I want to say it's actually 5. So, yeah, so 5 years after Jedi Fallen Order. So he's in his close to his mid-20s at this point. So, yeah, Cal's a lot more mature in his decision making, but it's still Cal from Jedi Fallen Order in many ways. Marin is great. I thought they did a really good job on her characters. Here, they did an excellent job on her. Grease, amazing. Yeah, again, almost everything in this game is absolutely perfect. I just loved it. And don't worry about the length, because I know, again, some people might be worried about, game length, because like, hey, you just started though. Well, again, like I said, there are a lot of shortcuts in the game. And I believe there are yeah, a lot of shortcuts in the game, to where you can go from point A to point B in a quick period of time. Before I wrap up the non-spoiler review, um, I was starting to say that there are 5 to 6 planets in this game, just like Jedi Fallen Order, but they're more of like locations slash planets. There is, I think, 1 or 2 that are non-planetary places where you can go to. But yeah, so I think you have an extra place in this game that you can go to than Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order, I think you go to 5 different places in the game. Where here, I think you have 6, and it's great. I really enjoyed all the planets that was on, and non-planets, I should say, as well. It was great. So yeah, so 6 places, 6 maps you can go in total on Jedi Survivor. So I think that will wrap up the non-spoiler review. Again, if you haven't played this game, I don't want to spoil you guys. Go ahead, get the game. If you already have it, go ahead and play it. It's awesome. I think you'll like it. Okay, so if you made it this far into the video, I'm assuming that you've already played the game, so we're going to do our spoiler review right now. So yeah, basically the story starts with Cal on Coruscant, and he is arrested, or what looks like to be arrested, and he's being taken to a Imperial senator on Coruscant. Well, anyways, he is rescued by BD1, and there's a struggle to kind of get aboard the senator's yacht or ship, because he has important stuff on there, important files, information. So he meets up with Bode, who is a character, a kind of a sidekick character in this story. For a majority of the story, he's in there, and so he kind of helps him out, and they kind of, help each other get to the crew, the new crew, I should say, for Cal, because we find out later in the game, or a little bit later on, that Cal, Seer, Grease, and Marin split up sometime in between Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, because they had differences of what they should do. We see in Jedi Fallen Order that they're very focused, they're very excited about having the opportunity, or just exploring, because, Jedi, the Jedi holocron was destroyed by Cal, and so now they basically get to do whatever they want, while Cal is somewhat refocused on, restoring the Jedi Order, where Seer, she's more determined on, doing the hidden path stuff, and, starting a hidden underground system for the Jedi. And I think, Cal was somewhat okay with that, but really a lot of it came down to Grease and Marin. Grease wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to start a saloon, which, again, if you're watching this and you have not played the game, or do not know the story, you're too late now. So I'm about to say what I'm about to say. So this is on Kobo, for instance, and this is Grease's saloon, right? So Grease started a saloon here on Kobo. Grease wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to start a saloon, and so he split up and came here. Marin, we kind of see her in the at the end of Jedi Fallen Order, how she, realized that the galaxy is so vast and she wants to explore it, and so she does, and so everyone kind of goes their separate ways. So Cal has a new crew, somewhat of a new crew on Coruscant, as they try to escape and get out of there, or get on. First, they want to get on the yacht, so they go on the yacht. They find their way on there, and basically they arrest the senator, and Cal looks at a map, and it shows like Star Destroyers, or like different areas of the galaxy that the Imperials have control over, and it's almost everywhere. And Cal is just discouraged how he felt like he's done so much over the last few years, even going back to Jedi Fallen Order, and it's basically done nothing. It just is continuing to grow, and the senator is basically like, you know, why are you fighting, or why must you fight when you can't win, right? So, Cal is getting discouraged, and he's starting to get uneasy, I guess, not comfortable, and so, anyways, stuff happens to where there's an attack from the Ninth Sister, which we all thought that she died on Kashyyyk in Jedi Fallen Order. Well, she survived. She has, I believe, a metallic arm and a metallic leg because Cal cut those off in Fallen Order. Well, anyway, there's a duel between Cal and the Ninth Sister. Cal realizes that she was formerly a Jedi. I forget what her name was, but he basically says, you know, it's time to set you free, and he kills her. And so he heads his way back. Well, anyways, I think it's before the duel against the Ninth Sister, but some of the crew members died. I think the twins, you know, they're I forget what type of creatures they are, but they died. One of the female crew members for Cal, working with Saw Gerrera, she dies, and another guy, he dies. But the only two survivors are Bode and Cal. So they escape Coruscant, and Cal basically crashes here on Kobo to find Grease, and so that Grease can fix the ship. Well, Cal arrives here in Kobo, has a little bit of a argument with Grease about what he wants to do and what Grease thinks he should do. Grease thinks that Cal should just like give up and live the easy life, where Cal doesn't want to do that. But anyway, Grease lets Cal do his own thing, gives him permission to go down to kind of like his cellar / basement, where it's really underground, to get a part to fix the Mantis. Well, anyways, Cal stumbles upon a hidden Jedi temple from the High Republic. Well, he runs into this droid, and Cal has this vision of a planet called Tanalorr. And Cal's very interested in that, and you know, Cal eventually finds out that this planet is a planet that's across the Kobo Abyss, and for a lot of people here on Kobo and in the galaxy, it's just a myth. Like, it's just like, you know, it might not be real, it's probably not real, but Cal, you know, in it, he has visions that it's real, and so he believes it's real. And so Cal is on a mission to find a way to get there. Well, he eventually, you know, tries to, you know, he explores, you know, the Forest Array, because Z, the droid from the High Republic that he runs into, basically tells him that to explore the Forest Array. Well, he does, but he realizes, or he goes up to a tower and finds out that somebody's in the Bacta tank. Well, he has a vision of the person in the Bacta tank, and this person was a Jedi during the High Republic. Well, in the vision, the Jedi reaches out to Cal and says, "Release me from the Bacta tank." So, you know, Cal does, and the Jedi is missing one arm, and Cal's kind of curious, and the Jedi wonders, you know, where am I? What's happened? And Cal basically tells them everything, that the Jedi Order has fallen, that a Sith Lord has taken over the galaxy, you know, over the Republic, and made it into an empire. Well, you know, this Jedi named Dagan Gera, he basically tells a brief little story of what happened on Tanalorr, how the Jedi went there, and you know, they built a temple. Well, suddenly I think it's called the Nihil, which is like they're supposed to be the baddies in the High Republic. Well, they attacked Tanalorr, and Dagan Gera wanted to defend Tanalorr. Well, the Jedi Council, you know, they felt bad, but they were like, you know, we had no choice. We have to abandon, because if we don't, a lot of lives will be lost. Well, Dagan didn't like that idea. You know, he kind of understood, but he was like, you know what, I can't leave this place. It's so special to the Jedi. It's a beacon in the Outer Rim. Well, basically, Dagan is kind of forced to retreat. but in doing so, he begins to turn to the dark side a little bit, and he's starting to have dark motives. And his Jedi friend, Centauri, Kree Centauri, she begins to notice that. Well, anyways, but before we get to that, so anyways, Dagon, as he's telling the story, he gets very angry, very upset to the point where he takes out his lightsaber crystal, which looks like to be a yellowish color, and I think it was yellow, and he bleeds it to red, and Cal is just like shocked, and he's like, telling him not to, and there's a small duel on top of the spire or whatever you call it, and Dagon has fallen he's a fallen Jedi. So Dagon retreats with I forget his name, so Dagon retreats with the Bedlam Raiders, who are raiders that are living on the planet of Kobo, and the Shattered Moon that's near Kobo. So Dagon retreats to find pieces to go to Tanalorr, because Tanalorr is so important to him, so he can build a army against the Empire and potentially destroy the Jedi as well, which is Cal. And Cal wants the opposite. He wants to go to Tanalorr to, create a safe haven for the Jedi and those that have been persecuted by the Empire. So anyways, there's this journey where Cal is trying to find a way to get to Tanalorr before Dagon does. Well, anyways, there's a big confrontation on Kobo eventually, where Cal and Bode meet Dagon, and there's a intense duel, but ultimately Cal takes out Dagon, and they retrieve the compass, one of the compasses. I think there's like 3 of them, but the main compass, or the one that works, and so but it is slightly damaged, so they have to take it back to Jeddah, because you go to Jeddah in the game, which is awesome, and that's where Seer and surprise Cordova is still alive, which a lot of people thought he was probably dead, long time dead. Like, this was several years before Jedi Fallen Order, during the Clone Wars, but he's still alive. He's helping Seer with the hidden path on Jeddah, and by the way, Jeddah is awesome. Like, I think if you played it, it's awesome. I love it. But anyways, they go back to Jeddah, and you go to Jeddah, I think 2 or 3 times in the story. But they go back to Jeddah to take this thing to Seer and Master Cordova, and Cordova fixes it. Meanwhile, Cal is basically, so in the game, in the story, Cal and Merrin are starting to create this romantic tie together, to where now they're starting to become serious about maybe starting a relationship, maybe eventually getting married, or you start seeing a little bit something there, to where they really liked each other. Of course, we kind of saw that at the end of Jedi Fallen Order, even though it wasn't like super duper close, but you kind of saw something there. And Cal basically tells Merrin that he wants to kind of forget about what the Jedi taught about not getting married or not being attached, and he realizes what he wants, and he wants Merrin, and Merrin is fine with it, and she agrees. And however, as they head back to the room, in one of the rooms, the main room on Jeddah, where they're hiding, there's an alarm that the Empire is attacking, because the Empire in the game is already on Jeddah. It's looking for different temples on Jeddah. Well, eventually they find the hideout where Seer and Master Cordova are hiding. So the Empire, they start their attack. Well, anyways, all of a sudden, the camera points over to Bode, who is a side character that, again, helps you out in majority of the story. He's pointing a blaster at Cordova, and Cal is very confused, like, Bode, what are you doing? And Bode's like, I'm sorry, I have to do this. And they're Cal's very confused, and all of a sudden Cordova is like, you don't need to do this. Well, all of a sudden, Bode kills Cordova, and everyone is just shocked. And so Cal runs after Bode, and it's a speeder chase, and it's really, really cool. But ultimately, there's a little bit of a showdown, small duel type of thing, to where Cal and Bode start talking, and Bode reveals to Cal that he was formerly a Jedi during the Jedi days, and how he survived Order 66 as well. And Cal is just shocked, and Cal, while he's shocked, but he's also very enraged, very angry, very, he has some hatred toward Bode because he just killed, somebody that he looked up to, and that's Cordova. And he could have killed, Seer. He could have killed Marin. And so Cal starts to build up this hatred toward, and anger and bitterness toward Bode, to the point where there's like a little small duel, and I think Bode, I think even actually not Bode, Cal even calls Bode a traitor, or a murderer, a betrayal. He betrayed the Jedi, and so there's this little small duel, but eventually Bode kind of wins, or kind of gets Cal to get knocked out in the desert in Jeddah, and then it pans over to where you can play as Seer, and that was really, really cool. And so basically Seer and Marin, they're kind of like wondering where Cal is, but they have to defend the area, to defend the place where they're at. And the Imperials are everywhere. Like, there's a ton of Imperials that you have to fight, but it's really, really cool. But Seer is extremely powerful, if probably more, maybe even more powerful than Cal at this point. And so she's fighting. You get to fight as her. Well, they kind of succeed in somewhat holding off the Empire, and so Grease is basically helping evacuees get out as much as he can, or at least he's going to try to. Well, anyway, Seer tells Marin that she needs to go back to the archives in the room to get, I guess, backup data or whatever. I forget what it is, but she has to get something and transfer it to BD1 so that they can, basically have memory, right? So Seer goes back. She tells Marin, even though Marin wants to go with Seer, Marin has to stay with Grease near the Mantis. So Seer goes back. Well, while she gets the whatever she needs with BD1, not BB1, BD1, she immediately senses a presence, and it's a familiar presence. Well, she tells BD1 to get out, go as fast as he can. And because those files that BD1 have are extremely important. I mean, this is Fate of the Galaxy type stuff. Well, BD1 goes, the door opens to the room, and it's Darth Vader. Darth Vader arrives. There's a little small chat, and they begin fighting. Well, it's a very intense fight. Again, not Cal, but Seer is extremely powerful. Like I said, she's probably more powerful than Cal at this point because, Seer in many ways had the same struggles as Cal did, growing up as a Jedi and as a master, and having to deal with her own Padawan becoming an Inquisitor, and probably having to face very similar tests as, Cal did. So anyways, there's a duel between Seer and Vader, and ultimately Vader does win, but barely, because Seer very, very closely almost kills Vader. Very, very closely. And I know some people didn't really like that idea, because a lot of people believe that, Vader would have wiped Seer to the ground. I get that, but at the same time, though, like I said, Seer, she's been around a while, and she has a very good master. But like I said, I think there has to be some sort of way that Seer must have had extreme tests, kind of like Cordova, because Cordova, as we've seen, had very extreme tests for Cal and Jedi Fallen Order. And so it makes me imagine or think that Seer probably had to do something similar when she was younger, kind of like what Cal is doing. So Seer is extremely powerful, but still Vader wins out. Vader is wounded, but and he kind of limps off. But Seer, however, she gets stabbed and through the Force tries to keep herself alive as much as she can because, she loves the crew. She loves Cal. She loves Grease. She loves everyone that you know, she's been around for a while and that she's thought about. She loves her master. But of course, her master was killed, but she's trying to stay alive, I think, for Cal because Cal needs a mentor. Well, she tries to stay along, and it's a really cool scene, but she tries to stay alive as long as she can to the point where I think it's after like the fire is done because there's a large fire, large explosions in the room and in the temple in that area because the Empire is bombarding that place to heck. But Cal arrives, without him waking up on the desert. He arrives. It's a very emotional scene, and he sees Seer on the ground, wounded, and Seer, her last two words are Cal and Trilla. And so it's just like, man, it was really emotional, a very touching scene, and very traumatic for Cal as he's lost really three masters with, Gyro T'Pol, Cordova, and now Seer. Well, anyways, they track Bode because they want to find this traitor, and Grease is just very upset, very angry with Bode, and he tells, in a very somewhat of emotional scene, he tells Cal and Marin that it's Cal not to blame. Cal's not the one that should be blamed. It's Bode for killing Seer and Cordova. He's the one to blame. He's a murderer. And so basically they track Bode down to this Imperial base. It's the ISB, which is the Imperial Security Bureau, on a moon, I should say, or on an asteroid belt area. And so they track Bode. They find him and his daughter Kata, and Bode reveals his dark motives to why he wants to go to Tanlor, just because of himself. He's willing to save, I should say, he's willing to give up or let millions, if not thousands, if not millions of people die just for his daughter and him to survive, and that's kind of selfish, and Cal doesn't like that. Well, Bode again turns on Cal and tells the Empire to attack Cal, and it's revealed that after Order 66, Bode was basically approached. He had no choice. He had to give himself up to the Empire, or the Empire would basically bring their Inquisitors on Bode and kill him. And basically the Empire came up to Bode and said, hey, we'll protect your daughter, we'll protect you, we'll house you for free, basically, if you find Seer, Junda, and Cal Kestis. If you can do that, great. And you can work for us, maybe permanently. And if Bode didn't agree to that, his daughter and him would probably be killed. And so Bode had no choice but to help the Empire. And so, in a very high-tension moment, Cal realizes that Bode and the Empire and this Imperial officer, the ISB, are behind everything in the story, that they tracked Cal all the way to Coruscant, and ever since then. So Bode was really a master, I guess, manipulator and deceiver, and that's how the Imperials found their base on Jeddah, and killed Cordova and Seer. And so Cal, in a very dark moment, he actually taps into the dark side, and it's a very cool thing because I loved how they did that, and I hope we see a little bit more of that in the future. Maybe the third game will have that as well. But anyway, Cal taps a little bit into the dark side as he escapes the ISB base, and Mary notices it, and she tells Cal that that's not who he is, and Cal is just like, he's super emotional, and he's like gone through so much, and he's just like, I'm trying, but it's just like, it's been so painful, and understandably so, because again, he's lost three masters in a span of 10 years ish, right? It's got to be very hard for him. I mean, he's lost family. Of course, Marin and Grease are still with him, but he's lost friends, a lot of friends. And so Um, anyways, they find a way. They go back to Kobo to align the arrays so that they can find a path to Tanalorr. But Bode has the compass to Tanalorr, so Bode is probably on Tanalorr. But there is another way to go to Tanalorr, which is by aligning the rays, which they do. They go on the ship, they go to Tanalorr, they meet up with Bode on Tanalorr, a duel, and again, Bode is he's very much selfish of just himself. Doesn't really care about his daughter, even though he says he does. His daughter doesn't really like it. It's kind of dark and lonely. Hardly nobody on the planet really. And so, there's a duel, and Bode is just angry. Has hatred, and he actually steals the lightsaber. He stole the lightsaber from Dagan when him and Cal faced him on Kobo. But anyways, there's a duel, and Cal again taps into the dark side when Bode is just like beating Cal like heck, to the ground and punching him and all that. And Cal basically suspends, I should say, Bode in the air by using the dark side, in some ways choking Cal. And Bode actually uses Force Choke as well. So both characters are tapping into the dark side here. But ultimately, Cal wounds Bode and shoots Bode. And Bode is trying his darndest to get Cal and kill Cal. And even threatens his daughter, which is kind of sad, but Cal has to do the right thing, and that's by killing Bode, because he is, by this point, he's just too selfish, too dark to let him live, right? So Cal, in a very sad moment, has to kill Bode, and so he shoots him twice in the chest. And one of the saddest scenes in the movie, or I should say in the game, is when they have to somewhat bury three of them, Seer, Bode, and Master Cordova on Tanalorr. And so they do that. It's a very emotional scene to where Cal basically promises to Seer that, he's going to build something that can outlast the Empire, and promise Seer that, he's going to do it. But he also tells her that he's scared. He doesn't know what's going to come next. And in many ways, kind of like in Jedi Fallen Order, at the end of each game, you kind of have the start of a new journey. And so that tells us that most likely, and I think there's already confirmation that there's going to be a Jedi 3 game, which I'm extremely excited for, so that's going to be fun. But anyways, right there, basically the story ends on Tanalorr, to where Cal and Merrin have to watch Kata, Bode's daughter, and Seer, through a Force ghost or some type of vision or memory in Cal's mind, or thought, tells Cal to take Kata through the darkness, walk her through the darkness, because Cal is himself going through a very dark period of time to where he's fighting the dark side. And I think even on Tanalorr, Cal at one point tells Merrin that Seer once told him, and it might have been in Jedi Fallen Order, that every Jedi faces the dark side. And so I think this is the big test for Cal. So so that basically wrapped up the story. It's a really good story. I really loved it. Again, I think this is definitely an A story, a game. I love this game. There's still a lot to do because, I will say this though. So in Jedi Fallen Order, after you finish the game, there's really not much you can do other than like maybe get more ponchos, and that's really it, or face the Haxian Brood. Where so far here, from what I've heard, again, I just finished it last night, and I've kind of started a little bit after the story. You get more, accessories and all that, but you get to explore more. There's the worlds are a lot bigger, but also there's more bounties, because in the game you get to, have, if you get Haxian Brood or anybody else, you can have get bounty pucks from somebody, and you can buy whatever you want at their shop. It's really, really cool. It's awesome. And again, I'll probably eventually do some streams on Kobo, but again, Really, really good game. This might become my new favorite game. Again, I'm still kind of processing all of it. But yeah, all I can say is it's really, really good. And I think at the beginning of the stream, I said that there was one little flaw that I wished they could have done better, and that is Tanalorr. So on Tanalorr, when you go to the planet, you go straight to the Jedi Temple, and after the game, you can stay on Tanalorr, which is cool. But the problem is, there's not really there's actually nothing you can do on Tanalorr. All you do is walk around. There's not any rooms you can explore or look around. There's no like any artifacts, nothing. It's just a empty Jedi Temple, which is kind of a bummer because I feel like they could have done more with that. But yeah, like I said, the worlds in this game are huge, especially Koboh. Koboh is definitely the largest planet in the game, and I just love it. So that will do it for our non-spoiler and spoiler review for Jedi Survivor. I'm hoping to stream this game very, very soon. Might be a few days, if not a few weeks. Probably not a few weeks, because I really love this game, and I'm excited to share this game on the YouTube channel. So again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you. Yeah, it's just there's a Star Destroyer right there. But yeah, this game has been phenomenal. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.